And we want to continue to show that live video to you right now. That is the capital of Lebanon. And for years, Iran's main proxy there, Hezbollah terrorists, which operate like a killing machine, have been under pressure to stop firing on Israel. Well, right now, they're getting hit. And this is part of the Israeli defense operation Roaring Lion, which side by side with our United States Operation Epic Fury has hit Iran hard and its proxies. So to see that smoke rising over the capital city of Lebanon has got us in panic into that government, because just yesterday we took it live when the Israeli ambassador to the UN, Danny Danon, was here in New York and spoke from the United Nations and said, Lebanon is reaching out for direct talks. You know why? Because they're terrorists and they do business just like what is happening in Iran right now and what Hamas has done in the past. They endanger their own citizenry to go after their enemies, and they know that. And so they want some direct talks now. You want to know how much President Trump has made a difference in the Middle East? Look at your screen right now. With combined forces with Israel now, the United States in a conversation, Israel in a conversation about, should we take a call from the Lebanese government? No, you don't at this point. That's what their pushback has been. No direct talks, according to Danon, Ambassador Danon. No, not until they rein in Hezbollah. And just to make sure you know that we're serious, you see the screen. That's their capital. The very latest video just into Fox, and Israeli forces are finding and destroying missile launchers inside Iran as well. The IDF, new airstrikes on the capital of that country, Tehran. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says we are, quote, breaking their bones. The rogue regime is vowing to fight against the U.S. and our allies. It responded with a wave of fresh attacks. And just moments ago, reports from the airports in Dubai and Abu Dhabi as they get ready for whatever much more might be coming. I know at least one of them has shut down in the last little while. I'm Harris Faulkner. You are in the Faulkner Focus. U.S. Central Command has released that video of U.S. forces blowing up Iranian missiles. CENTCOM has a message to the radical Islamic regime of Iran. The U.S. won't stop looking, and when we find them, we're taking them out. Photographs posted by CENTCOM display the U.S. firepower our military is using as it fights Iran's brutal authoritarian government. A map showing the staggering number of regime targets the U.S. military has hit so far. Remember, I mentioned 5,000. It's also damaged or destroyed dozens of Iranian ships. We put their navy underwater. You heard that from President Trump. The Pentagon gave an operational update just a couple of hours ago. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth warned there is a lot more to come.
On day 10 of Operation Epic Fury, we are winning, with an overwhelming and unrelenting focus on our objectives. Today will be, yet again, our most intense day of strikes inside Iran. The most fighters, the most bombers, the most strikes. Intelligence more refined and better than ever. So that's on one hand. On the other hand, the last 24 hours have seen Iran fire the lowest number of missiles they've been capable of firing.
President Trump, again, speaking out about Iran's new supreme leader, Mojtaba Khamenei. That's the son of the Ayatollah who forces took out.
Do you have to take him out? Does he have a target on his back?
You mean the new supreme leader? You mean the son?
I was disappointed because we think it's going to lead to just more of the same problem for the country. So I was disappointed to see their choice.
Fox News correspondents are covering the story from every angle, multiple locations, as we do, bringing you the very latest developments in the conflict unfolding minute by minute. We begin with Chief Foreign Correspondent Trey Yingst in Tel Aviv. And Trey, I know you spoke by phone with the president overnight.
Harris, good morning. I spoke last night with President Trump about Operation Epic Fury. He doubled down on his position about Iran's new supreme leader, saying that Mujtaba Khamenei, he's not happy with this selection. He said, I don't believe he can live in peace. The president went on to describe more about his decision-making process, saying, when we attacked them first, we knocked out 50% of their missiles, and if we didn't, it would have been a much harder fight. The president went on to say no other president had the guts to do it. I don't want some president who hasn't got the courage in 5 years or in 10 years to go in. President Trump added, if they would have had a bomb, they would have used it on Israel and other parts of the Middle East, I think, and probably us, if they could get it there, but it would have been tough. The president speaking as Israel is launching new strikes today against the Iranian capital of Tehran. You can see in some of these explosions here, they are flying alongside American jets, taking out the military infrastructure of the Iranian regime. Earlier today on Fox News, General Daniel Kane said this about the situation.
CENTCOM continues to make progress across the southern flank. To date, they've struck more than 5,000 targets. U.S. Strategic Command bombers recently dropped dozens of 2,000-pound GPS-penetrating weapons on deeply buried missile launchers across the southern flank. We also have struck several one-way drone factories to get at the heart of their autonomous capability.
Again, you saw those remarks from General Kane on Fox News earlier today alongside the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth. You can see here some of the destruction across Iran. The Iranian regime is continuing to get hit hard in the capital and also on that western flank where many of the ballistic missile launching positions are. We understand those launches are down around 90% since the early days of the war. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu speaking out again today about this operation.
Our aspiration is for the Iranian people to cast off the yoke of tyranny. Ultimately, it depends on them. But there is no doubt that through the actions taken so far, we are breaking their bones, and our hand is still extended.
As the Israelis are looking east, they're also looking north to the Iran-backed Lebanese militant group Hezbollah. Massive explosions rocking the Dakhia neighborhood of southern Beirut, a Hezbollah stronghold. We also understand, according to the IDF today, Harris, they continue to push ground forces into defensive positions in southern Lebanon in preparation for more kinetic activity against this terror organization. Harris?
Trey, thank you very much.
Our generation understands this fight. For 47 years, these barbaric savages in the Iranian regime have murdered our brothers in arms. Now they race toward a nuclear bomb to hold the world hostage. That race to a nuclear bomb, President Trump will never allow it. Not now, not ever.
More on the mission from Secretary Pete Hegseth this morning. He also offered a prayer of protection for our brave troops willing to sacrifice all to protect America. Vice President J.D. Vance joined the family of Army Sergeant Benjamin Pennington for his dignified transfer home. Sergeant Pennington was killed by an enemy strike in Saudi Arabia. He is the 7th service member killed since Operation Epic Fury began. The president talking about when the conflict could end.
Very soon. Look, everything they have is gone, including their leadership. In fact, there are 2 levels of leadership, and even actually, as it turns out, more than that. But 2 levels of leadership are gone. Most people have never even heard about the leaders that they're talking about. So it's obviously been very, very powerful, very effective.
In focus now, Vice Admiral Robert Harward, member of George W. Bush's National Security Council, also served as a U.S. Navy SEAL in Iraq and Afghanistan. Sir, good to see you this morning. Look, it sounds like we're looking at that live video. I don't know if where you're sitting you can see this, but seeing Beirut on fire after getting struck over and over and over, the capital of Lebanon, the talk about perhaps direct talks reining in Hezbollah. What are your immediate thoughts about what we're accomplishing here?
Look, it's unprecedented destruction and military power of not only Iran, but its surrogates as Hezbollah. I was struck by the announcement by the government of Lebanon 2 days ago, where they're in the fight against Hezbollah as well. And they made a public declaration that any offensive operations conducted by Hezbollah was illegal. So they've turned on Hezbollah as well, which is a challenge in Beirut itself. So I think all fronts are coalescing in this fight against Iran and their surrogates.
Talk to me from your perspective as a Navy SEAL, what it means to put those ships by Iran at the bottom of the sea. There's so much talk about oil and the Strait of Hormuz, but I want to get the history and what it means when you can put our kind of military might in that region, because we are hearing that that is a possibility, that they'll protect ships and get things going again.
Without a doubt, and that's what we've built our military force to do. But to see it in action at this scale is just makes you very proud to be an American and proud of the investment in our armed forces and the people who serve. They're willing to put their lives at risk for long-term peace, security, and stability, and that's the end objective here. Iran's been building up this force for 47 years. They've used it to strike other countries in the region, to kill our people, to develop nuclear weapons, and now we're saying no more. That's come to a halt. Now the question becomes, how do we get to the point where they will not reconstitute that, or when the fighting's over, ensuring there's a government that's not focused on rebuilding that offensive, but building peace, security, and stability? That's the big question.
Yeah, and creating a window for there to possibly be a regime change, because that is kind of the byproduct of all of this. It may not be forefront, but it's the byproduct to give those people on the ground a chance to take their country back. I want to get to this. Wall Street Journal editorial board is calling out those who say the United States should end this war after less than 2 weeks. Here's part of it, quote, "Is it time for the president to call off the bombing and declare victory? You'd think so, judging by the panic in Washington as the price of oil spikes. Allies agree on the need to end the threat from Iran's regime, which can be done by removing it or, second best, its capabilities. Trump doesn't need the regime to fall to call Operation Epic Fury a success, but stopping now amid some short-term economic discomfort would be a victory for the mullahs." Your reaction?
That's exactly right. You can't stop now. If we were to stop now, it's a victory for the regime. They would only be more empowered and would reconstitute. They go back to building more missiles, get back on their nuclear program. We need a government in Iran that will not pursue those offensive capabilities and be a threat to their partners and us in the region. And so we've got to stay in the fight till we accomplish that. So this short-term pain that we're suffering, spiking oil prices, the threats, I think that's going to dissipate in the very near future. And then we can focus on the longer-term objectives, what the next government in Iran will look like and how they will act.
Yeah, I mean, I hear you on the economy. I don't know about those threats. I mean, we have millions of people who are not vetted who are in this country, and we're already seeing a higher alert for terrorism. Their thirst to kill us is unending. But I'm just praying we'll be ready.
Harris, you've hit it. That's indicative of how bad a problem this had become. That we would allow Iran not only to threaten in the regions, but establish networks in the United States, right, and we have to protect that. That's completely unacceptable. So we've got to eradicate all of those components, and all of those are linked to the government of Iran.
Vice Admiral Harward, thank you. Good to have you. Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube, and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.